about the schedule, the Big 12 schedule. Craig put this out on his Twitter page. End of January, that is the timeline. Okay, it's rather benign, right? Mm-hmm. Do you see how many views that got?
Yeah, 156,000.
That's good, I guess. I don't like the views button. I really don't.
I know you don't. You, if anyone, don't like it.
I think it's already changed how people use Twitter. Like, they're so focused on the views button now, like how many that number says. And I've never done the social media thing for all of that. I get that's what the point of it is. But, yeah, I mean, that's cool, but that's not something I was really hoping you were highlighting here.
What did you want me to highlight?
The basis of the tweet. Discussion of the tweet. Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's just a never-ending, maybe down the road, kick the can down the road. The UCF.
Terry Mohajir, yeah.
Terry Mohajir is how you asked that question. It was. It just only fueled it. Pac-12 came out with their schedule today. Big 12 has a TV deal. Pac-12 has a schedule. And now we'll probably see that flip.
The difference is that the Pac-12 knows when their teams are leaving. They're like they know that, so they can go ahead and do it. That's the biggest thing. They know, so they can go ahead and make the schedule. And I'm sure a lot through tiers about like the last times they're going to go to LA for anything. But at least the airports everywhere else will be easier, you hope. But yeah, their schedule's out. So
SEC's dropped.
Yeah, SEC's dropped. Of course, again, the SEC knows, like, they know what their teams are going to be this year and what they assume is next year. I also think. And Smokey, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Craig, I would think the SEC, as opposed to the Big 12, and this is just, history making me think this, that the SEC has the contingency plan for everything. Like, they might even have one for, like, what if we get Texas and not Oklahoma for a year? Like, here's that one. Like, they would probably thought it all out and, like, what's your schedule if Texas and Oklahoma can play, but only in Japan? Here you go. We've done that one as well. We've got a guy in a room who's thought that out.
But I can understand the delays, and I know why people want to know the schedule. Some of you want to book some road trips if it's in Provo or if it's in Orlando or if it's in Cincinnati or wherever. I get that. I
think the views shows that the people are interested and they want to see the schedule, and they want to see it now because it's been talked about being released in December, and it was talked about being released at the end of the season. It was talked about being released in January, and then it was coming soon, and it's still coming soon. Well, I mean, now we're in mid-January, and yeah, at some point, people do want to know where they can expect to be playing next year. I'm sure coaches would love to know, kind of like just in their minds, what the roller coaster is going to be, looking like heading into next year. But yeah, I mean, fans want to start making predictions. They want to know what the toughest stretch is. They want to know what home games and what road games and, get into all that. I mean, that's as big a part of the offseason discussion as anything is the schedule itself. And so that's what we're all waiting on. And as I said in an article, we'll pour through it and, go through all of it whenever that day comes. But it does sound like the reason I even wrote something about it was because he did reiterate that end of January. And so if we get it before then surprise, and none of us will complain that we got it early. But at the worst, you would think, okay, they've got less than 2 weeks to drop that thing, because that would be the end of January here in, 13 days. That's when sometime between now and then we should see a Big 12 schedule. And if it doesn't come out, then I will start really maybe getting not up in like, there's people who are like freaking out about the schedule. Like, I mean, like, and maybe it's just the way they're tweeting. I think
more of the incoming fans. I know others are, but I think a lot of the incoming
people
fans
are kind of
excited.
Like, there's like some reactions that it's like cool down a little bit. It's just a schedule drop. It's not like life or death here. But I mean, again, I understand the anticipation level, and especially if you're one of those new schools, like, do we play, Texas or Oklahoma? And there's a lot of people that want to know that on both sides of it. But yeah, it should come out in the next 2 weeks. That's the main message that I got, despite all of the other times that Yormark has said what he said, or Terry Mohajir said what he said, or whoever else has said something about the schedule. Based on what Mac told us, end of January. So today's the 18th. We've got it. Is there a 31st in January?
Yes.
Okay. So between now and the 31st, and that's when it should drop. And if it doesn't, like I said, then I will join those who have been outspoken about where is this thing, because that will make you wonder, like, truly, we get that there's logistics, but what is taking so long at this point?
Well, to me, the story is this. It's not that to me, the story is that they can't release it because they're still waiting. The last little pieces of Texas and Oklahoma leaving after this coming season.
Which is even more reason why people want to know, because that would then inform all of us of what's happening with Texas and Oklahoma. Like, there's layers to it. It's like, yeah, you want to know when you're playing at Stillwater, But yeah, you want to know, like, who are they playing on their way out, if in fact this is the way out? And the way it's set up will probably indicate, you would think in some ways, maybe if that is in fact their last ride. But I mean, that's going to have to become public sooner rather than later, because if it is, well, it's 8 months away, and that's going to be the last ride, and we're not going to go through that, and then all of a sudden at the end of it go, oh yeah, by the way, that was the end. No, there's going to be some buildup and some lot of discussion about that. So that's also, I think, where people are coming from.
Justin said, I think the new fans just want the schedules released as the airlines are about to release their fall flight schedule.
Yeah. Want to book trips, yep.
All right.
You know, I have one quick suggestion for the Big 12. So you ever go on Netflix because you've got a show that you like, and they do like it's supposed to come out on Thursday, and it's like Wednesday night, and you go on Netflix and like, oh, Stranger Things comes out at 8 p.m. tonight. That's good. That's what the Big 12 should do. They should Stranger Things this.
I think that based on the, I was just thinking this last night, but I would have had like a legendary name from every program do a little video on it at this point. I mean, you could really do some cool things with the schools involved, but at this point there is such an anticipation level that you see the NFL has a full-blown schedule show. The Big 12 doesn't have a network nor a need for a network and doesn't need to have a full-blown presentation, but I think they could gussy up the announcements a little bit to, bring in more social media eyes or, at least create some more excitement. And Yormark is a showman. So, at this point you got people's attention. So when it's ready to go, then, make it a big deal and make it a fun thing. And, like the NFL, they've made everything a big deal. Maybe make the schedule release an even bigger deal than it's been in years past.
That's what we think we'll get from him, or at least that's what we've been told.